Struggling to keep your no-dig garden productive in May? In this video, I'll give you 10 essential veg garden jobs to keep your plants thriving. Each task is packed with purpose, and I'll tell you exactly why. My first tip, it is all about potatoes. Now potatoes, if they're exposed to sunlight, will turn green, which turns them mildly toxic. They also don't keep. So by earthing up your potatoes, even if they are first and second earlies, I've seen a lot of people saying that they don't bother to earth them up. You don't need to ridge them up like you would main crop potatoes, but you still want to put something over your first and second earlies because they grow very near the surface. They poke through, sun shining, they'll turn green. If you're growing your main crop potatoes out in the open plots, this will only be the first earthing up process that you will do. You will do it at least one more time, and it could be 3 times in the course of a year. My next tip is, now that you've sown your carrots and your parsnips, they now need thinning out. Now, looking at these parsnips, this one is a lovely strong plant. So I'm going to remove this one. It's already got a root coming down, Mrs. W.
It has, yeah.
It's a tiny little parsnip. And we're going to remove this one too. And it's always a good idea to do these jobs when they're quite young, because then the disturbance is minimal. Now, when it comes to the carrots, you can see that there are 1 or 2 that have germinated. And there's too many there. They're just going to be, the carrots are going to be too small. So I'm going to save that one at the moment. This one is out of the row, so he can come out. I'm happy with that one being there, but here there are 1 or 2. You can see they're actually starting to get their true leaves. So I'm going to remove these 2 next. You two can, well, you can come out for starters. And it's a shame that that one's looking so good, but I only want 1 there, so these 2 are going to have to come out. Those are the breaks sometimes. I know you can see there's a nice distance between the 2. Remove that stone, because that's not going to... It's a bit of wood, actually. That's like the ideal distance for summer carrots. A lot of you have probably got a fruit cage. Myself and Mrs. W don't have a fruit cage. We have an area where the fruit is grown, as you can see. But with soft fruits, if you do have a cage, you need to ensure the doors are open, because you need the pollinators to get to the flowers. Then once they're pollinated, of course, then you'll get some fruit. It's important that they can get to that. What I would say is, if you're considering a fruit cage, myself and Mrs. W have for some time, I'm sure we'll get one of these days. I would use this netting that you can see here, which we have over our strawberries. The only things that you want to keep away from your soft fruits are actually birds. They're the ones that do the most damage because they eat them. Most of your soft fruits don't get too many diseases. There are 1 or 2 diseases that they can get. Like gooseberries, you can get the gooseberry sawfly. We don't see it around here, and we don't ever cover our gooseberries. Our bushes are very productive, and actually they already have gooseberries on them, Mrs. W.
I know, look at those little jewels. This plant has really got quite large, hasn't it?
Has, yes. It will need a good pruning come the end of the year.
Yes.
Which reminds me, somebody did say in the comments that they would like a video on pruning. The reason you haven't seen it yet is because of the wrong time of year, but we will give you some tips on pruning your soft fruit later on this year. The strawberries are looking really good and healthy, They clearly don't have any diseases. We have flowers on them, so I'm quite hopeful that by the end of May and as we go into June, we shall have strawberries on these plants. But do keep an eye on the plants, and if you see them sending out runners, prune them off immediately at this time of the year. You want these plants to put all of their efforts into producing as much lovely, juicy, ripe fruit as they can. You won't do the plant any harm, and it will continue to send out runners long after it's finished its fruiting phase. And then if you need to replace your runners, like we do this year because these are now entering their 3rd year, from those runners we shall then propagate some new strawberry plants. And they do work really well. If you see these ones here in our polytunnel, last year they gave us so much fruit. And they were year 1 plants that went into those hanging baskets. These Aylesmere cauliflowers are starting to come ready. We took one the other week and absolutely gorgeous. We're going to have another one tomorrow, Mrs. W.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. They really are. And by the way, thank you all, and I mean thank you all for your comments and voting in the poll that we put up. They really have helped shape things for the future for myself and Mrs. W. When it comes to the stalks, normally because they've been there ever since last July they've been there. They're quite hard, but also quite woody, and that's quite valuable at this time of year to actually put into the composter. But, unless I want to absolutely wring my hands off with a pair of secateurs, it's quite difficult to do. You can't just put a whole stem in there, it's going to take forever to break down. But we were sent this Prunabu battery-operated pruner. It's really easy to use. Once the battery is charged and is in, all you need to do is press the on-off button, and then to get it to work you press the trigger twice and then it's ready to go. You can adjust the distance that it prunes at. But being no dig, I like to leave as much of the root in the ground as possible. So that means I can get right down low and prune it. And then the real beauty of it is that they're really sharp and you can cut them really quite close. So all I've got to do is to chop this up. You can see just how woody the stem is. As I'm cutting it, it's already starting to break up, and that's going to compost really, really well.
I have to say, I've been using these. We've had these for 2 or 3 weeks now, haven't we? And I've been using these and they're fantastic. I have arthritis in my hands, which is really painful, and I can't always grip the pruners very well, but these do the job for you. Fantastic.
There you go. That's ready to compost. And that now means that absolutely nothing in this veg garden will be wasted, because I can now compost everything that comes out of here. And it's so easy. You've probably now heard that bleep. It's turned itself off. That's the safety feature of it. There is also an option to purchase the extension pole, and this will extend up to 2.5 metres. So no more getting ladders out, especially if you suffer with vertigo, because that's not too clever like I do. And you can prune things that are much higher up. Now you can see here this plum tree, it's been diseased really ever since we've been here. We've tried to do what we can to save it, but it has very bad canker. The fruits are always diseased, so we do need to take this down. And this is going to enable me to do this in stages and actually demonstrate just how well it does cut. This has a cutting width of 50 millimetres.
Make me jump.
We're actually thinking of keeping the base so that Mrs. W can make a feature of it, which she likes to do. Just be mindful if you're cutting things like this, which way they're actually going to fall, so that you're not in the way when they do come down. Now, on opening up the box, we obviously had the pruner itself, has a maximum cutting distance of 50mm. It comes with a full set of instructions, any Allen keys or spanners that are required when changing the blade. It also comes with a spare blade, a sharpening stone and a charger. Now, between the two batteries you'll have an operating time of 5 to 10 hours. One thing that you do just need to note, it comes with an empty bottle, and that is because of customs. They can't get it through there if they fill it with the oil, and we've just filled ours with some vegetable oil. They've also sent us an extension pole, but that is something that you do need to purchase separately. But it's really, as you saw, very handy when you want to prune shrubs or trees that are quite tall. During May, you'll be looking to put your peppers and your tomatoes into your undercover spaces. For us, the tomatoes will go in the polytunnel, and the peppers will go into the greenhouse. Now, you need to wait until temperatures, overnight temperatures that is, are around about 10 degrees most evenings. These plants will then get away, and get away strongly. If you put them out and you've still got temperatures of only 2 degrees or less overnight, they're going to sulk for a long time before they get going. It's not going to affect them in regards of you won't get plants and you won't get harvest, but it will just, they'll just sit there and sulk and don't really want to do anything. So far better to wait until that happens. For us here in our no-dig Norfolk garden, Zone 9A, about 7 days' time will be when we reach that point. Already we can see that temperatures over the next 5 to 7 days, they are going to be around about 8 or 9 degrees overnight. We're expecting daytime temperatures of the mid-20s Celsius. So it's the right time for us. But if it's not the right time for you yet, just hold off. And certainly if you're going to be planting these outside, leave that until right at the end of the month, even the beginning of June. As I said, we're expecting temperatures in the mid-20 degrees Celsius bracket for a lot of next week. It's already warm in here today, and it's only about 10 degrees outside at the moment. So on days like this, just make sure that you ventilate. Always be ventilating. Make sure any vents are open, keep the doors open. In fact, for the last few nights, our door on our polytunnel remains permanently open. And we've also increased the side vents so that more airflow is getting through. Having no airflow and things getting overheated will do a lot of damage. Just in the same way that if you have a really cold night, a frost can do a lot of damage. I don't know if you saw in the comments, Mrs. W, but Zinnia, she commented on our channel and said she really loved our herb bed and the way that's been broken up by some things are actually in the bed and other things are in pots. And I kind of figure she's a bit like you, because she said any excuse to get a terracotta pot.
I love terracotta pots.
But yeah, it's a nice way to break up the herb garden so that you've got something visually quite lovely to look at. But while we're on the subject of herbs, May is the time of year when you can take cuttings from woody herbs. That could be thyme, and in this case I'm going to take some cuttings of rosemary. When you want to take cuttings of rosemary, don't do it with any of them that are in flower. I'm going to choose this one and just snip that off there. And all you need to do is to take the bottom leaves off, just strip that. And then pop it in some water. Now, I really use lots of rosemary in cooking, and of course so does Mrs. W. So to have another plant will actually be quite handy. And in some years here in our New Dig Norfolk garden, every now and again we get a really cold one. We have actually lost rosemary bushes over the years, haven't we?
We have, a couple of times actually, so yeah.
So to always have one at hand, just in case that happens, is quite a good idea. All you need to do now is to keep that on your kitchen windowsill for the next 4 to 6 weeks, and you'll start to see that it will start sending roots out. And then once you see that happen, you can just pop that up into a pot and let it grow on. For my next tip, as we go into May and your broad beans start to get taller, you can sometimes find that black fly becomes a problem. Now, they don't do any particular damage to the plant really, and you'll still get a harvest, but it does look quite unsightly, and they do excrete a substance that makes things rather sticky, so they're not so pleasant to handle. As you can see, we already have pods that are forming. But to help with the black fly problem, what you can do is to remove the tips of the plant. These act like a kind of helipad. And they come in, they land on here, and then they work their way down. Now, I'm not going to take these out at this moment because you can see here they're looking really good and we don't have a black fly problem. We have in the past, I have to say, but we don't at this moment in time. But if we did have a problem, it would be just between your finger and thumbnail, just pinch the top out so that they don't have such a focus to land on. But in order to do that, the bean must be present first. Don't just do it because you've got flowers on there. You need to see the first pods start to form. Look at this lovely wisteria, Mrs. W.
It is beautiful, isn't it? Now all opening up.
Absolutely gorgeous.
It is a bit of a shame because the polytunnel now blocks the view that we had of it. It's still here, it's still performing beautifully.
Yeah, it is a shame, but this is not the most tidiest area behind our polytunnel,
No.
so it actually brightens it up. And it does make me smile when I see it.
Yes, definitely.
But for my next tip, it's the rhubarb season, and if you had an earlier variety, of course you'll have been harvesting yours earlier. We actually took our first harvest, was it last week?
Last weekend, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Rhubarb crumble.
Oh
Very
yes,
nice.
very lovely.
Yummy.
So we're right in the season now and in the window for harvesting any rhubarb. You want to be harvesting this until around about the end of July and then let the plant do what it needs to do. And actually I want some rhubarb for today, Mrs. W. The great thing is that rhubarb really is a really productive plant, and if you have a large family you can take as many stalks as you like. This will absolutely do for myself and Mrs. W. She'll be able to make a lovely rhubarb. It might be rhubarb crumble, but it could also be a rhubarb and blackberry crumble, if she's got any blackberries still left in the freezer.
Oh, I don't know that I have actually. I'll have to have a look.
But anyway, it is the time to be harvesting this. One note of caution: if you are new to gardening, you can only eat the stalks. Do not eat the leaves. They are toxic. It's fine though to compost them. You can compost them, no problem at all. But during the season, I can really smell that rhubarb, Mrs. W.
Good.
Give it a feed with comfrey feed.
You don't want to smell that. That smells horrible.
But it does amazing things to anything that you're getting fruit from, including tomatoes. All you do is you make a solution in your watering can, just 10 to 1. So if you've got a 10 litre watering can, you put 1 litre of that in and just give it a feed. You might have seen it elsewhere and it says comfrey tea. But it really does an amazing job with, as I say, anything that's going to be fruiting. We'll do the same with this. This is our Victoria rhubarb. And those of you that have been watching this for a while now, must have been about 3 years ago that I actually sowed this. So this one was grown from seed. It wasn't taken from another crown. And we've had a couple of pickings off this too, haven't we?
We have.
Absolutely gorgeous colour. It's completely red. Whereas the other one that I just harvested, it has a tinge of green in it too. That one was Strawberry Fulton's Surprise, wasn't it?
Yeah, Fulton's Strawberry Surprise.
Yeah.
The first one, and this is the Victoria.
Yeah.
We also have a Timperley Early, but that's quite a young plant still as well. We're not harvesting from that at the moment, are we?
No, that was only planted out this year, wasn't it?
Yes.
The other thing I would say is that we are actually going to be moving these rhubarbs at the end of the season once it's gone dormant. These were planted in here before we had the polytunnel. And one thing rhubarb does like is nice sunshine on its back. So they're going to be moving in between the gooseberry bushes and blackcurrant bushes that we have over the other side. If you remember, we turned that into a new dig bed earlier this year. And for my last tip, why not make yourself a wormery? You don't need lots of space and it works really well. And we've been adding this to our seed mixers, haven't we?
Yes.
And had some really good results.
Beautiful stuff they make, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cover them up.
And while they're busily doing their stuff, they also make worm tea, which can be used in just the same way as the comfrey tea. So that's your 10 essential jobs for May. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe and drop us a comment. Tell us which job you'll be tackling first. And if you want to know how to start your own wormery, then watch this video next. Have a great rest of your gardening week, and we shall see you really soon.